Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Brain Wellness, the Secrets for Longevity. This is our second workshop, and I hope everyone is here today to enjoy information about why hurt your brain. So if you have your pen ready and your paper, we can get started. So first of all, I left you with some homework yesterday to do some brain gym. Those were those little easy crossovers. So I'd like to give you another challenge today, a more advanced one, and it's very interesting to see. If you can do this particular little exercise, you know that the right brain and the left brain are online and working together as a team. If you can't do it, and you need to work on it a little bit. So here we go. It's a little bit of fun. I want you to take your right hand, or if you're left-handed, doesn't matter, and you pinch your nose. Then you take your other free hand and you swing it right around your face, all the way over to your ear. You grab your ear and you give your ear a shake. Perfect. Let your ear hand go and move it to the top of your nose, and your bottom hand on your nose is going to swing around and grab your other ear. So the goal now is, can we switch over and cross over like this? All right, so now if you're punching yourself in the head, it's not working. That's it, keep going. Wonderful exercise to show you that both sides of your brain are working. Crossover exercise, just like that. All right, thanks very much for getting warmed up, and we're ready to go this morning. As a teacher, of course, I always give quizzes to my students. So here's your review quiz to start the day. Answering true or false. Number one, your brain is very soft. Is that true or false? Of course it's true. Your brain is super soft, just like unsaid tofu and jello. Okay, question number two, you can't grow new brain cells. That is false. You can grow new brain cells, and we learned yesterday through movement that we can do that. Next one, your brain is always the same. Is that true or false? That is false. Your brain is different every single day, changes all the time, and that's good news. The front of your brain is the thinker, and that's true. We call that the captain, the prefrontal cortex, where you think, the most evolved part of your brain. And last question, it's never too late. Oh my goodness, that's true. It's never too late to rewire your brain, improve your brain, or fix a broken brain. It's never too late. Okay, so there's your review. Remember, today we're going to talk a little bit more about the hippocampus. The hippocampus yesterday records your memory and promotes learning. Okay, that's the thumb-sized little organ just inside your brain, but we also want to make sure that it doesn't shrink. Now, I've spoken to you about this, I think, before. People say shrinkage. What do you mean shrinkage? What I mean is, the part of the brain that shrinks are the dendrites. Those are the little branches at the top of all of those neurons. We do not want them to shrink. Okay, so we got a fantastic way at the end of this little workshop to make sure they don't shrink. Okay, so our goal today is we're going to learn some more. And I'd like to share with you, over the years, people ask me like, Gary, you've been around neuroscience for years and years and years. What have you learned? Tell me. And I just say two things: move and learn. Because to grow your brain, you have to be learning. You see those nice green block letters there on the left? And people are saying, well, what am I talking about, learning and growing the brain? What part am I growing? Dendrites. Yeah, that's what we're growing. Okay, so here's a wonderful cartoon, one of my all-time favorites here. Can you see the little brain with the big muscles? Where do you work out? And there's the big brain on the little fellow at the library. Now that's neuroscience in a nutshell right there, folks. Absolutely. Okay. We don't want to get to this position in life. This is Irv. Quite suddenly and without warning, Irv fell victim to the old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it. And there he is, sitting in front of the TV, and not only has his brain fall off, as his entire head has fallen off. So lots of neuroscientists are using this adage all the time. Don't use it, you lose it. Okay, it's a living organism. It's not a thing, your brain. Okay, One more shot I want to show you today, and this is a wonderful picture at the cortex of your brain. This is a living person. You can definitely see the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. So when you were doing your crossovers today with your nose and your ears, you were getting that electrochemical energy zooming across both sides of your brain. Where is it done? In the wall, which is inside, holding the two of them together. Okay, so we're looking at what hurts your brain today. So bear with me here. I know some of you drink alcohol, and it's ubiquitous. It's been in society for thousands of years. So I wanted to show you a few things today. We're going to look at some brain scans. If I was to brain scan you folks right now, what I would see was a brain that looks like this. This is the top of your brain, and you see all of that red there is good news. That is neural activity between the neurons. There's thinking and reasoning and learning and listening. It's all a wonderful looking brain. At the very top of your brain there are your two captains. You have one on the right, one on the left, your prefrontal cortex. So that is an awesome looking brain. Now in this demonstration, this man is just in his early 30s and he gets intoxicated. He gets completely drunk. Here is exactly the same picture in exactly the same place. Oops. You can see very clearly at the top of your brain, the captains are not on deck. Folks, alcohol is a poison for your brain. And here's the scary truth. The scary truth is, one, it shrinks brain volume. Okay, so if you do drink alcohol, if you do have a glass of wine or some beer or something, please drink water immediately afterwards to nullify the effect in your brain of the poison alcohol, okay? It lowers blood flow to your brain, specifically your prefrontal cortex. You have fewer neurons if you drink all the time. You have atrophy in the hippocampus, which is what you really don't want, okay? And finally, it increases your risk of dementia. Now, I know in our world, there are certain alcohols that are promoted for good health, but you better talk to the neuroscientists because they're saying the evidence is beginning to point in the other direction. Okay. I need to show you some scans here. Now, I am not a technician, but when I was doing my training in the States with a Dr. Amen, you're going to meet him in just a second here. He's probably the world's most famous brain science guy. These are called SPECT scans, single photon emission computerized tomography. Great big long word. It's called SPECT, S-P-E-C-T. There are many, many different ways to take pictures of the brain, and many of them talk about structure, but this kind that I use, they look at function, okay? They look at function. So I want you to focus in the bottom right-hand corner. You see that nice, round, smooth looking brain. It's very symmetrical. So that's what I've been taught to tell you, that when you see a brain that looks symmetrical, smooth and even, that's what you want. So what we're looking at is a normal brain scan of a male or a female of any age. These look good, really good, okay? So how does it work? We know in your brain, if you can believe, that little 3-pound brain of yours has hundreds of miles, or I should say kilometers now, of blood vessels and veins. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilometers in there. And you know what? That can be measured. So when we look at these scans, we are studying function, okay? These are beautiful, elegant brain shots, and they're literally maps of your brain, maps of your brain. So the ones I've seen, they look like a gigantic donut, and a person would be put on a little slide. They would go inside this donut, and you would be in there for 4 hours, and there are 8 cameras that pan your brain's activity to see how it's doing. So let me show you some results. This, unfortunately, is a stroke. It's a left frontal stroke, and you can see that very large hole in the brain there. Now, the neuroscientists call them holes for 2 reasons. One, they can actually be a hole where you can stick your finger right through it, or it's an area of no activity. The neurons are not communicating. The lines are down. So when you see a hole like this, you know, the first time I saw a lady neuroscientist with a great big knife, and she took a cut in the middle of her brain and stuck her finger right through the captain, right through here. Pretty scary. It was a boxer. It was a boxer. So here's the good news. This man, 67 years old, suffered this very severe stroke, as you can see, and that has affected his mobility and his speech. He was able to recover totally within half the time, because those of you who know about strokes, it takes a long time to recover. And what has he been doing? Well, he is doing a new therapy called tonal therapy. He does it at his home. He does it when he wants. And what he's doing is he's singing. And he is singing nursery rhymes over and over again all day long. He's singing happy birthday to me, ring around the rosies, happy London Bridge is falling down. He's singing nursery rhymes over and over and over again to rewire his brain, to renew the brain with those old pathways that he's had in his brain since he was a child. Okay, very good news. Tonal therapy. Okay, here's a picture of Alzheimer's disease. You can see it's very distorted. It's irregular. It has lots of bumps in it, and even a hole or two there. So that's what we don't want. Alzheimer's right there. And recall this, please. There are no pills. In the last 30 years, there have been over 300 drugs on the market, and they have all failed. You cannot solve the problem with drugs. It has to be something else. Okay. So folks, here we go this morning. It's a bit of a challenge. On the left is beautiful, gorgeous, healthy brains. And on the right is a person that is not healthy, that the brain is not doing well. It's full of dents and bumps and even holes. Okay, so brain scans, I am told to tell you, is this. Brain scans don't lie. They tell the truth, and they're changing the world we live in. So be concerned about your future, because tomorrow's your future. You're going to spend the rest of your life there. Which brain do you want? Okay. If you wish to look at brain scans, there is a wonderful spot to go. This is amenclinics.com. And when you go there, you will be looking for a SPECT atlas. Now, Dr. Amen, as I said, is probably one of the most famous neuroscientists in the world. He has clinics that have measured, he told me just recently, 160,000 people. He has used with the brain SPECT imaging to study people and their brains. And he is an incredible guy. He's very down to earth, very practical. And let me give you just one story about him, because I was very lucky to train with him 3 times. And the last time I met him down in San Diego, he said he called a meeting of the National Hockey League and the National Football League to come to San Diego and talk about concussions. He said in that meeting, the National Football League was in the front row and the National Hockey League never showed up. So if you're a football fan, you know that brain imaging has changed the game a lot, and there's a lot more focus on concussions. Not so in the National Hockey League. So I'm, as a humble teacher, public teacher, I like to make the prediction that in the future, fewer and fewer people will be playing football, fewer people will be doing boxing and hockey. We know now that lots of children are not going into some of these sports now. No wonder, it's too dangerous for the brain. Okay, so let's talk about aging for a moment. There are 3 major signs that you could be aware of as a senior that your brain is aging. 1, you get that memory loss. Where are my keys? Where did I put my purse? I saw a fellow in my local community the other day drive out of the shopping mall. This is before all of this virus thing started. And there were 3 bags of groceries on the roof of his truck. And there he goes. That would have been an expensive experience. Okay, is your brain tired? When does it get tired? Is it tired in the morning? Does it get tired in the afternoon? And is it overloaded? Do you have too much going on? Now, if those 3 signs are beginning to manifest, these will be the experiences that you will begin to find out about in your life. 1, shrinkage. The dendrites are getting smaller. 2, there's less electrical activity. For example, if you go downstairs in your apartment or your home to get something, you walk into the room where you're going and you go, why did I come here? I can't remember. Less electrical activity, fewer resources in your brain, and your brain is more vulnerable to problems. So those are aging experiences. Okay, I like to show you something. This is my brain. This is my brain right here. On the right-hand side of those little charts is my right hemisphere, and on the left is my left hemisphere. So the story is very simple. When I left teaching, I got so busy as a brain coach, and I wrote 2 books. And after about the first 2 years, I started to really get stressed out. So I want to show you what happened. I went with my wife to a brain lab, and we checked in for 5 days. And we were there in the morning, we went home for lunch. In the afternoon, we went back again, and we did all kinds of interesting things with the brain. And in the end, this is the result. My brain is totally balanced. You can see all of those little columns there of different colors represent different parts of the brain. And so my right brain and my left brain are very balanced. That's what I want. This is what I look like when I went in there. Very much overbalanced to the right, too much creativity, too much work. So folks out there in the real world, this is where you want your brain to be. Okay, that's why we do the brain gymnastics, and that's why we do exercising, to make sure that both sides of the hemisphere are balanced and even. Okay, not this one. Wow, let's talk about this for a moment. Stress. Anyone out there not have any stress at all? No. Didn't see anyone. I want you to know what stress does. It causes anxiety. And you know, in today's world, we're all anxious. I think we're all anxious. And anxiety is a real problem. It's a 24-hour, 365-day-a-year problem. And what is going on? Well, there are lots of people saying you can take this course or you can take this supplement or something to get rid of anxiety. Well, I assure you, you can't get rid of it, not in today's world. So I have an anecdote for this. I want you to grab your pens and pencils because it's very important that you understand what's going on, okay? You got to learn how to manage your stress. You have to learn how to manage your stress because it isn't going to go away. It'll be continuously there. Okay. What is stress? What does stress do then in the brain? Neuroscientists call it fire in the brain. Fire in the brain. And what does that mean? Your brain's on fire, literally. Inflammation, which is a natural part of the brain, is out of control, and it is causing grief. Okay, brain inflammation means we got problems in the hippocampus especially, and in the prefrontal cortex. Okay, fire in the brain. Now, inflammation is well known to be behind and the cause of many, many human diseases. It's not good for us, okay? And its cause is what's called cortisol. Cortisol, what is that? Cortisol is a hormone produced from the adrenal glands in response to stress. So short explanation is on the top of your kidneys, you have 2 little adrenal glands. They're just small things. When you're stressed out, it produces 2 chemicals. One, adrenaline. Adrenaline goes everywhere in your body and you're ready to run. And the other one is cortisol. Cortisol does not go in your body. It goes somewhere else. It goes in your brain, okay? And it destroys the biochemical integrity of your brain. What part of the brain does it focus on? This stress chemical, your hippocampus. It destroys your hippocampus. And this is a major cause of Alzheimer's disease, a dead and dying hippocampus. It's very, very critical that we know this. So here's information. I want you to watch the screen because this is what's going on. Slow motion aging. You don't even know your brain's on fire. It's just year after year after year, you go, 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 and you're not aware of it. And this is another way of describing it. Slow motion aging or wasting away syndrome. How do you know you got inflammation in your brain? Well, do you ever go to sleep and you just toss and turn and think about things, and then you look at the clock and it's 1 a.m. Oh my goodness, I'm sure we've all experienced that. Okay, inflammation, it means things are not going as smoothly as they were a few years ago. Okay, so what causes this? Right I would contend to you that one of the biggest problems all of us face in today's world is that our brains are bombarded with useless information, absolutely useless. And it comes in like this. Every single second, thousands and thousands and thousands of impressions come from your environment that you're in and go right into those two little hippocampi. And they have to deal with that. That is extremely stressful for us. Add to that the challenge that we're living in a world of complexity. It's not so simple anymore. Many of you were probably born before a lot of computers came, or a lot of the technology was invented before it was invented, and your world now is much more complex. So, very important. How do I beat this? As it's in your brain, you must do this as you age. You must simplify. You must simplify. Make your life easier. Get rid of extra stuff that you own. If your garage is so full you can't move in it, you need to start lessening and moving stuff out. Okay? Simplify. Please copy that word down with a great big star. With a great big star. Because it's really important. I'm sure you can think of many different things that you could share with others, because in today's world, there are lots and lots of people who are in need. So if you have a coat that hasn't been worn for 10 years, why keep it? Share it with someone. So simplify your life and your brain will love you for it. Okay. Did you know that you own a hunter-gatherer brain? Which means that this little brain that's inside your brain, most people call it about a 30,000-year-old project. Your brain is 30,000 years old. I have seen research say 50,000 years old. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? It means after all these many, many years of human history, we have not changed our brain. The problem is the world we live in has changed, because our hunter-gatherer brain is designed for looking out into the horizon. Where can I find some food? Where's a good place to camp? It's built for that kind of survival mechanism about where are we and what are we doing? So here's the problem. How does the hunter-gatherer brain handle a cell phone? How does it handle emails and Twitters and all that stuff that just keeps coming at your hunter-gatherer brain? It's under stress. And that's why I've asked you very carefully to start simplifying your life, start letting go of things, and you're going to be reaping the benefits. Okay, so I've been working occasionally out in a clinic in Nanaimo here where I live. And the doctor is a specialist in dealing with people that have been abandoned by the system. And they mostly are dementia people and Alzheimer's people. And I've asked him, they come from all over the world, these people, all over the world. And I've asked him, I said, you have people here from everywhere. What do you hear most from all the old people that come to your clinic? What do you hear? And he said, this is what we hear. Nothing wrong with me. Nothing wrong with me. You know what that is, folks? That's called denial. And denial has got them in that clinic because of this, pride. They are proud people, and pride is a risk factor. If you can be strong enough within and realize that I'm not quite as sharp as I used to be, I'm just not the same brain that I had before, it's not working so well, then you can move forward. It is the denial that stops us, the pride from moving forward. Okay, those are the things I wanted to cover today. So I've got some homework for you that is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. It's called neurobics. Now, everybody knows what aerobics are. Those are exercises. Well, here are neurobics for your brain, okay? So this is what I'd like you to do. First of all, as a practice to show you how this works, I want you to take your pen and you write in your best hand signature your first and second name. Go. Your regular signature. Sorry, yeah, first and last name. All right, now I want you to shift to your non-dominant hand, and I want you to sign your signature first and last name. All right, now having a look at that, does it look like the same person? Do you need a little help? After all, you should know who you are, and your signature you have done thousands of times. So what's behind aerobics is, I can just see faces out there now. You have to do something that you rarely do. So the easiest one on the neurobics field is to use your non-dominant hand. Example, this evening, I would like you to try get your toothbrush and clean your teeth a little bit with your non-dominant hand. I would like you at lunch or at dinner to switch your hands and try eating a little bit with your other hand. Don't injure yourself because this is new territory for us. Even though we think we know a lot about ourselves, this is new territory. You know what this is? We're doing something we rarely do with parts of our brain that we hardly use. The other side. So when you go to a cupboard, open the door with your other hand. Okay. When you go to pick up something off the floor or off the Chesterfield, do with your other hand. See how many times you can do this. So here's your challenge, because you're going to have 5 of these to do today. It's your homework. What I'd like you to do is, how many times, think about this, how many times have you put on a pair of pants? You can't even count how many times. A pair of shorts, of course you have. And you always, if you watch carefully, you always put the same leg in first. Well, your challenge is, I want you to put your other leg in first and watch the results. It's usually hilarious. Make sure you're sitting by your bed because you're probably going to fall over. So non-dominant hand exercises are fantastic for your brain, absolutely fantastic. So they activate different areas of your brain that you don't use. They renew old pathways that you haven't used for a long time. So your homework is, try those pants, and I want you to consciously try doing 5 different things with your non-dominant hand, and that will help you grow your brain. So I hope today's workshop was practical and meaningful. And in the meantime, I hope you can practice some brain jam and practice some neurobics. Until tomorrow, enjoy your brain.